Hello everybody, I'm Posthuman, and today I'm going to walk you through how to make this bass. Now before we start the video, I just want to say that I'm on the grind back up to 700 subscribers right now. My old channel was wrongfully terminated at around 700, and I'm trying to get back there. So if you could like, comment, subscribe, anything you can do to push this video into the algorithm, that would help me a lot. I also want to say that I do have a Discord server that will be linked in the description. If you want to join there, I upload samples and just random junk constantly. I can't help myself, okay? I like sharing my stuff. But yeah, there's some good drum samples in there. I've been working on a lot of drums lately. There's a few bass samples, a few bass loops, stuff like that. And I also want to say that I will have a Patreon up within this week. And all those drum samples and those filler basses that you heard in the intro will be available on that Patreon next month. The first month I've already created, and those basses and drum samples are ones that I'm working on for the next month. So for only $6 a month, you can get all those drum samples, all those basses, and more. And for, I think it's $15 a month, you can get Patcher presets alongside that, and you can also get some Serum presets alongside that I will be giving away each month. So thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe. Let's get into it. To begin, we are going to start with Oscillator A, and we're going to go Spectral Monster 7. With Monster 7 equipped, we're going to bring this down to your 0 octave. For me, I'm playing on my keyboard on octave 4, so I'm bringing down 2 octaves. We're going to bring the random all the way down, so there's no difference in how the sound starts. We're going to bring the unison up to 3, which is very important for this bass, and we're going to bring the detune up to 1. After this, we're going to set a wavetable that's a ramp up on the position from 1 to 100 of the wavetable. And then we're going to set an LFO that looks like this onto the volume. Just modulating it by 100%. This is what it should sound like so far. And it might sound a little bit different for you, as you need to turn the width down in the global tab to 0. With the width all the way up, it sounds stereo. With the width down, it's just complete mono. After this, we're going to enable Oscillator B, and we're going to bring this up 1 octave. We're going to bring the detune, or the unison, to 6. We're going to bring the detune up to 50, and we're going to modulate it backwards with an LFO that looks like this, which is just a simple ramp up by -32. After this, we're going to bring the random all the way down, and we're going to bring the volume all the way down on this oscillator. This next step is probably the most important in building the bass tone of the sound. We're going to enable sync no window, bring this up to 1.10%, and we're going to modulate it with the same LFO that we used on the detune by 20. Now, this isn't going to be doing anything yet, and that's why, because we need to enable FM from B on Oscillator A. We're going to enable FM from B, and we're going to set it to 34% and modulate it with LFO 1 by 12. And this is what the bass should sound like so far. After this, we're going to enable the sub oscillator, have it set to 54%, and just bring this down 2 octaves. Next, we're going to enable the noise oscillator, which is going to be on bright white, which is right here, and volume is going to be at 5. This is what your bass should sound like before we get into filtering. Now we're going to get into filtering, and the filter, we're going to enable it. It's going to be the multi high notch 12. We're going to set the first frequency band to 86 Hertz, and we're going to modulate it by 19. And the second frequency band is going to be set to 81%, and we're going to modulate it -53. And the resonance, we're going to bring up to 65. And this is what it will sound like. And you want this to be on the noise as well. Now we're going to get into the effects tab. So we are going to enable distortion. It's going to leave it on, we're going to leave it on 2. It's going to be set to 90% on the drive, and the mix is going to be 85%. This just crunches up the bass a little bit. This is what it will sound like. After this, we're going to enable delay. This is an important part of the bass. We're going to set the feedback to 0%, BPM and link, and we're going to set it to left and right to 1.8. Link just makes this a little bit easier, because if you move 1, it changes both. We're going to have it set to normal delay, and we're going to have a band filter on 747 Just bring it all the way down and then bring it to 747, and we're going to have the mix to 15%. This is what it will sound like. With the feedback all the way down, what it does is it only delays it once. If I bring the feedback up, you will hear more, but you can't really hear it because the mix is so down low. The next effect we're going to enable is a compressor. We're going to just enable multiband, bring the release all the way up, bring the gain up to taste, and just the thresh back if you want. Just boost it. After this, we're going to enable hyperdimension. We're going to leave the detune and rate. I think these are default settings, but if they're not, 25% and 40. The hyperdimension mix is 15%, and we're going to bring the dimension size all the way down and the mix to 13. We're going to enable a flanger, and we're going to bring the rate all the way down, the feedback all the way down, the phase all the way down, the mix to 50%, and we're going to bring the depth to 60% and modulate it backwards by -12. This is what it will sound like with the flanger. It's really just boosting that same harmonic range that the bass has, just boosting those harmonics. After this, we're going to enable a filter, and this is kind of the main focus of the bass, that it just kind of boosts everything and makes it sound nice. This is the band reject filter. We're going to go misc band reject. We're going to set the frequency to 121 Hertz, and we're going to modulate it up by 7 with LFO2. We're going to have the width, or the the resonance at 60%, and we're going to have the width at 22%, and we're going to modulate it up by 14 with LFO2 as well. This is what it will sound like now. Now we're getting that nice tone out of it. Next, we're going to enable another EQ. We're going to have the frequency of band 1 to 3,404, the Q to 30, and the gain to 3.6 decibels, and we're going to have this as a peak. I don't know why we use that band up here and this band down there, but so next we're going to set the frequency of peak 2 to 175 Hertz. We're going to have the Q to 47, and we're going to bring the gain down by -8 decibels. This is just boosting high end and moving out some frequencies that make it a little bit muddy. This is with, this is without. Just brings a lot of clarity to the bass. And then now we're on to the last effect. We're going to enable chorus. We're going to have the rate at 6.7 Hertz, going to bring the depth down to 6.3 milliseconds, and we're going to bring the mix to 14%. These are the only 3 settings I changed on this bass, or on this effect. And this is what it sounds like. The chorus is just adding a little bit more stereo width and just kind of beefing it up a little bit. It's not very noticeable, but it does a lot. Now we're going to go and send this to its effect rack. First, we have an OTT on 80% depth. The time is at 316%, and the output gain is at 6.5 decibels. It's just doing OTT stuff. Next, we have an EQ, and with this EQ, we're bringing down the lows a little bit. This isn't just, we're bringing this down a little bit, because when we toss it into the Camel Crusher to distort it, the lows will get boosted a little bit too much if they're too loud. I cannot pronounce stuff right now, so we're just bringing them down a little bit. We are cutting out some muddy hertz, or muddy frequencies at around 164 Hertz. We're cutting out some more harsh and annoying frequencies at 1,551 Hertz and 5,297 Hertz, and then we're bringing down the highs just a little bit. Next, we have another OTT, which is kind of just gluing it together. Depth at 60%, time at 667%, and the outgain at 7.2 decibels. This is what it should sound like with just these 3. Now we're going to enable the Camel Crusher, which is free. If you don't have it, it's a great distortion plugin. And all we're going to do is we're going to click presets and we're going to go British clean. That's it. That's all you need to do. This is a super clean distortion preset. This is what it sounds like. Just makes it nice and loud. Next, we're going to enable just any general delay plugin, and I just have the mix at 9.7 and the decay at 0.16, and that's all I changed. This is just adding a little bit more stereo width, just widening up the bass. Next, we have another EQ, just removing 167 Hertz again, and then bringing down 4,443, and that's all this EQ is doing. And then we have a soothe, and this is just on 42%, and this is what it should sound like. Oh. That is the final bass. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.